It is easy to fall into an apocalyptic mood when breathing in smoky air beneath the ochre sun that has hovered above the northeast U.S. this week. The mind races toward metaphors of impending misery even though we know that it is not a malevolent deity but wildfires in Canada that has sent us this affliction. Red sky at night, sailors' delight. Red sky in morning, sailors take warning, the old saying goes. The American people have been seeing a red sky above the economy for quite some time. The latest results from the Economist/YouGov poll demonstrate that despite unemployment staying below 4% since January of last year, Americans are deeply unhappy about the economy. Let's start with the most general question: how would you describe the state of the economy? Just 4% rate the economy as excellent. We'll assume that a substantial number of those folks work directly for the Biden administration or in one of its subsidiary branches in the green energy sector. 17% say the economy is good, bringing the overall positive assessment to just 22%. On the other side of the ledger, we have 32% who say the economy is only fair. A plurality of 42% say the economy is poor. That brings the negative assessment share up to 74%. The demographics tell an interesting story. By a large margin, the age group that is most likely to say the economy is poor or fair are those between the ages of 48 and 64. For this group, 82% have a negative view of the economy. Next up are older Americans, 75% of whom take negative views. Things are not really that much better with younger adults, however. 69% between the ages of 18 to 29 and 68% of Americans between the ages 30 to 47 score the economy as fair or poor. There is a partisan and ideological gap in views of the economy, with 88% of conservatives holding negative views and just 64% of liberals. Self-described moderates fall in between, with 69% holding negative views. For party affiliation, this breaks down as 86% of Republicans on the negative side, 79% of independents, and 59% of Democrats. 92% of Trump voters say the economy stinks, while 58% of Biden voters do. There are gaps in the views between racial and ethnic groups. 77% of whites say the economy is fair or poor, as do 71% of Hispanics. Among blacks, the negative assessment share falls, but only to 61%. And, by the way, women are more likely than men to hold a negative view of the economy, at 77% to 72%. The most interesting aspect of those numbers, however, is not the divide but the unity. Large majorities across the ideological spectrum, across parties, across racial and ethnic backgrounds, and across voting histories are in agreement that the economy is not doing well. But they see things getting worse. The same poll tells us that 53% of Americans believe the economy is getting worse. Just 16% think the economy is on the mend. There's a huge gap between men and women on this measure. 56% of women think economic trends point to a worsening economy, versus 48% of men. Whites and Hispanics are equally pessimistic, with 55% saying the economy is deteriorating. Among blacks, just 41% say the economy is getting worse, while 22% say it is getting better. Among whites, the optimistic view scores just 16% support. Among Hispanics, a measly 11% support. One takeaway: if Hispanic voters are motivated by the economy next year, Biden will face a tougher re-election fight than his advisors probably anticipate. It's all about inflation. There are plenty of trouble spots in our economy, but it is clear that inflation is driving this negativity. The Economist/YouGov poll indicates this through a number of vectors. When asked which is the more important problem facing the country right now, 53% say inflation and just 6% say unemployment. Another 36% say both are equally a problem. The poll also asks what the best indicator of the economy is. 54% of Americans say it is the prices they pay. 16% say jobs, 11% say personal finances, and 6% say the stock market. While the numbers vary, prices are the top issue for every age group, every ethnic group, every age group, and across the political and ideological spectrum. When asked to rate issues as very important, somewhat important, not very important, or unimportant, 73% say inflation is very important and another 22% say it is somewhat important, for a combined 95%. The issue of jobs and the economy scores at 69% very important and 27% somewhat important, combining to 96%. But because we know Americans are not that concerned about jobs, this figure is probably also a proxy for inflation's effect on the economy. When asked to choose which issue is the most important, 17% say inflation. The next highest scoring issues are healthcare and the economy at 12%. Is anyone paying attention? Our politics and policies have not yet adjusted to the public's concerns. Politicians on both sides of the aisle still talk as if job creation were the economic challenge of the day. Biden's White House is constantly bragging about how many jobs were created during his presidency. They are like the proverbial generals fighting the last war, battling against the low employment recovery of the last decade instead of the high employment sluggishness of this decade. We suspect that the candidate who can most quickly adjust his views to accord with our age of inflation and low productivity, and formulates policies to overcome these problems, will find favor with the public that sees price stability as our biggest challenge.